Nation, we're getting close to football season. Let's go. Salute to the nation, you guys. Thank you guys for pulling up to Raiders Primos. It is the real Raiders talk. We are going to be giving our reaction to the 53-man roster, and we're also going to talk about guys who are coming onto the practice squad, who also went on IR. We're also going to just talk some Raider ball tonight. We got time, so spread the link around, spread the love. My boy, the man, the myth, the legend, Raider Nate is in the building. And you're only gonna be on here for a little bit, right, Nate? And that's fine. That's fine.
I might come back.
Okay, hey, bro, I got all night. I was thinking, you know what? It's been a while since we had a long live. So I'm telling you, people, hey, spread the link, you guys. Get your friends, get your family up in here, and let's talk some Raider ball. But yes, Nate, let's dive. I want to talk about this first. Now we'll talk about off the air. We'll talk because.
All right.
I got into a little debate with some Raider fans, and there's still those Kardashians out there trying to paint the narrative that Josh McDaniels, he dismantled a playoff team. And I know that's the past. I don't want to bring up the past. Our 2021 team, salute to them. Shout out to that 2021 team. But I'm going to be honest, that 2021 team, you guys, was not a playoff team. They were not a playoff team. So for people trying to paint the narrative that Josh McDaniels dismantled a playoff team, that 2021 play was not a playoff team. And you know what? If you want to say they were a playoff team, more power to you. But then why the hell did we go 6-11 then? Because you go get the best wide receiver in the NFL, you replace Zay Jones with Devontae Adams. You got Josh Jacobs that had a breakout year, and you couldn't get it done. So obviously that 2021 team was not a playoff team, because then we would have made the playoffs last year. But that's a conversation for a different day. We're talking about the 2023 Las Vegas Raiders with the 53-man roster. So let's get into it. Salutes to Sean Johnson, my guy. Let's effing go. Raiders Primos sent you all the notes you need to cover on your guys' live show tonight. 53-man roster, 17-man practice squad, and season-ending IRs, players, etc. Salute to my guy Sean Johnson.
I think he meant 2022.
For doing that, I salute to you, Sean. Thank you for just catching me up on things. Salute to my guy Anthony Estrada. Yo, what's good, man? Salute to my guy Raiders Primos with the flags. Yep, got silver and black repping. You got Raider Nate, got his flag. And Anthony. A little quick reason why I said I know we made the playoffs, but and this is just not with the 2021 Raiders, because we've seen it. We've seen it past where look at the Pittsburgh Steelers out of all teams in 2020. They start, I believe, 11-0, and then they finish the season 1-4, and then they get blown out. Oh yeah, I seen that video. They get blown out basically by the Cleveland Browns coming into their house. What do I mean by this, Anthony? There is definitions to a playoff team and a non-playoff team. You're always, Anthony, I hear you, man. I hear you. But the thing is, you're only as good as you are team-wise. The thing is, they made the playoffs, but they squeezed out games. They played a Cleveland Browns team that lost 19 players. That's damn near a offense and a defense that they lost. You're playing practice squad players at that point.
Mhm.
I get it. A win is a win. You go play Carson Wentz, and you go play a Chargers team who, I mean, I'm glad we beat the Chargers. I'm not even gonna say that. I'm glad they choked it. And then we go play a Broncos team that was down bad. We were lucky. People don't like that. Now, Nate, I need to ask you this because you played football.
Yeah.
Is there such a thing as luck in football?
I mean, yeah. I mean, a lot. A lot of things, especially when it's when the ball's just just moving on its own, or whether it's a wind. The wind is moving, and the ball could go anywhere on a kick, or just
The most common one, Nate, it's a fumble. Like a fumble.
yeah, a
Like
fumble,
you
like
gotta have the
a
luck.
loose ball.
You gotta have the luck that the ball bounces your way.
Yeah, a loose
Like
ball.
there is a lot of time, like, and Anthony, I don't want to get into the whole 2021 team. I appreciate your comment, bro, but I'm gonna just answer with this: it was not a playoff team because we got lucky, and a lot of people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. Oh, we got lucky. We got lucky. I'm not gonna lie, you guys. Like I went to the game versus the Chargers and the Raiders. I had hope. I was like, bro, we are a playoff team. And then the Chargers started coming back. We're beating these guys 29-14. And our offense just goes into stall mode. Our defense decides to go into prevent mode. And that's where I was like, we're not a playoff team. We're not a playoff team. Because playoff teams put their opponents away. Look at the Chiefs. They put their opponents away. Or they're still running with them. But you put the Chiefs in a 29-14 lead, they're blowing you out 9 times out of 10. You put the Bills in a 29-14 lead, they're blowing you out 9 times out of 10. So that's what I'm saying. The Raiders were not a playoff team, and they showed it in Week 18 versus the Chargers. Did they win the game? They did, but it was closer than it had to be. And I give them the respect in the world. They fought against the Bengals. But I want to also ask you guys this, because then people want to hit me with this. Well, we started 5-2, so the only reason we were in that position was because we started 5-2. Okay, then let me hit you with this. We started 5-2, and before that 4-game stretch happened, we were 6-7. Nate, you remember we had an ugly loss against the Chiefs and the Bengals. We got scraped all over the field by those two teams. We got wiped, and guess what? Those two teams made the AFC Championship, and we got wiped. We got wiped and thrown out into a garbage can and thrown out of the stadium by those two teams. And yes, we went into Cincinnati and we gave them a game. That's playoff football, though. Nate, you could testify. That's playoff football. Anything can happen. But the fact of the matter is, though, is that we lost. See, that's the thing. I may be a young Raider fan, and I may have not seen, the past the Raiders of old. But I just want to win. I don't care how, I care how you get to the playoffs in a sense. The thing is, because I know I say this a lot, I don't care how we get to the playoffs. I just want to make the playoffs. But the thing is, I also want to have that hope that we can go to the playoffs and we could compete with any team. We could win. We could give a fight to the Chiefs. Because the thing is, you know what was funny, Nate? I went into that game like we could beat the Bengals. Hey, and we gave them a fight. But you know what was funny? Say we win that game. You're going into Kansas City the following week. So everyone in the chat, let me ask you guys this. I'll be happy with the win over the Bengals in the wild card. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a Raider fan. I would freaking love it. But is that worth seeing my favorite team getting the absolute dog shit kicked out of them in national television in the playoffs? That's just me, man. But you know what? It is what it is. Anthony says, lucky, bro. Over all that drama season, Henry Ruggs situation, Gruden stepping down, all that, we had so much fight. Yeah, sure, up 20-7 at the half. Let them come back and won in overtime. And Anthony, hey, respect, bro. Like, yeah, there was a lot of stuff going on in that season. That's why the 2021 season will always have a special place. Nate, me and you talked about this. We will never forget the 2021 season. We will never forget. And this isn't to bash the 2021 season. It's to dismantle and bash the narrative that Josh McDaniels came in here and totally dismantled a playoff team. And the thing is, they weren't a playoff team. Like, they were a competitive team. I'll say that. They were a competitive team, but they were not a playoff team. When I think of playoff team, I think of a team that is year in and year out. You guys are mentioned in the playoffs. You guys are mentioned as a team that can take down the teams like the Bills, take teams down like the Chiefs, the Bengals, like stuff like that. Hey, for real, Anthony, for real. We're still waiting on that ESPN 30 for 30 for that season. For real, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, for real. That was a documentary. That was a documentary that season. Robert Munoz, salute to you, bro, for pulling up. OMG, I'm not hearing this BS. Dude, that season, Burrow was sacked the most. We clearly could have beat them, and you denying that we're not a playoff. You just clearly said a win is a win. Make up your mind. Hey, Robert, the thing is, I know a win is a win, but we lost in that playoff game, right? We lost in that playoff game. And we gave them battle for battle. I see that. And Sean, that's really what it is. I want to win convincingly. Like, not always have a nail biter. Like, it felt like, and you said it, Nate. What was it when we were drafting? You were like, we're Raider fans. We're used to this. Like, always the nail biters.
Yeah.
Like, we got to get our blood pressure cuffs. And I hear you, Robert. I hear you, man. I hear you. My mind is made up that, yes, a win is a win. In the regular season, a win is a win. But when it gets to the playoffs, Robert, what do you want to see? Do you want to see the Raiders win or you want to see the Raiders lose? Especially the way that we lost that playoff game, that hurt even more. Like, the fight that you have all season just went out the window on that last drive. But let's move on to the 2023 season. Oh, and Nate,
I gotta go.
Hey, it's all good, Nate.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
I was just happy I was able to get in here for just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Peeking.
It's good, bro. It's good.
All right, man. Much love to the chat.
I'll break down. Hey, if you're still, we're gonna be on here for a long time. So Nate, when you want to pop up in here, hey, feel free, man. It's all love.
All right. See y'all.
Salute to Carlos. Salute to Carlos, Raiders Primos. Hope is all well. Yeah, bro. A lot of personal stuff has been going on this past week, which is why we haven't been on as much. So salute to you guys for pulling up. Thank you guys. And shout out to Sean. I want to be winning where we have to pull our starters in the fourth. And you know what? In 2016, Sean, that's what I was hoping for against the Colts. But I want to have stuff like that where we were blowing teams out. It was convincing. And Carlos, yeah, we're going to talk about that because McClendon Curtis not making, or I know he's on the practice squad, but not even making the 53, I disagree with. Robert, yeah, by refs help remember that early. I do actually, yes, I do remember that. The catch the ref said wasn't a catch. Remember that? I do. I remember that too. Adversity happens though. Like people came at me, Robert, not necessarily you, but people came at me that we were beating adversity. That basically was that game's definition, beat adversity. I remember that. And Robert, I agree with you. I was pissed off at that too, but man, you got to beat adversity. Now, hey, Robert, all love, bro. Agree to disagree, man. Agree to disagree. Let's talk about this 2023 team, you guys, because I know that's what we came on here for. So let's talk. What do you guys want to get into? Y'all want to get into the cuts, the depth chart, or the practice squad? What do you guys want to get into first? What do you guys want to get into first? You guys want to get into the cuts, the practice squad, or the actual depth chart? And my goodness, come on. Okay, there we go. Pulled it up. What do you guys want to get into first? Let me see. That is not what I don't know if you guys can hear that. I had an audio pulled up. Give me a sec, you guys. Get in the news, not audio. Give me the news. There we go. There we go. All right. So I actually pulled up the practice squad. Can't find the cuts. That's weird. Well, most of the guys we brought back. Actually, let's not. Yeah, we don't have to take a look at the cuts, right? Yeah, let's take a look. Yeah, let's start. Yeah, I agree. Let's start with the 53-man roster. I agree. So the 53-man roster looks like this, you guys. We got our quarterbacks, obviously. You got your quarterbacks, Jimmy Garoppolo, Aiden O'Connell, and quarterback 3, Brian Hoyer, which is likely going to be he's not going to count to the 53. He's that emergency quarterback in case Jimmy and Aiden go down. I think, we all like that. The Raiders are only going to be carrying 5 running backs: Josh Jacobs, Zamir White, Amir Abdullah, Brandon Bolden, Jakob Johnson. You guys liking that? I like that. I really wish. I thought Damian Williams was going to make this squad. I think after that game against the Cowboys, he really had a really good game, had some nice runs in there. And I mean, it was him or Zamir. And the thing is, Damian's a veteran. He's like in his early 30. I think he's like 33, 34. And Zamir, he's still young. He's like 20. He's 25 years old. They're going to go with the young buck out of Georgia. And hopefully with Josh Jacobs being back, that's going to give a little bit more juice to Zamir. But other than that, I do like Amir Abdullah being brought back. I'm still iffy about Brandon Bolden. I'm going to be honest, you guys. I didn't want him to come back. I mean, he had a really nice run against the Rams when he was in there with the starters. But for the most part, I think we are solid at the running back position. As for our wide receivers, you guys, we are keeping 6 wide receivers. And this is where it kind of some things get a little question marks. So Devontae, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow, Trey Tucker, DeAndre Carter. I think those were, the givens. It was that last wide receiver spot between Christian Wilkerson, Philip Dorsett, and Cam Sims. Christian Wilkerson made the cut, you guys. This after coming off a 10-catch game over 120 yards. And I would think he was targeted 13 times by Aiden in a game. He had a nice touchdown catch against the Rams. But the thing is with Christian Wilkerson, he needs to fix the drops. That is the big thing for me. He needs to fix the drops. I know he's at the bottom of the depth chart and the wide receiver room, but injuries happen. Next man up is gonna happen this season. Hopefully not with Jimmy. But yes, Christian Wilkerson did take that last wide receiver spot. For the most part, I thought Cam Sims was going to be the other wide receiver that was going to take that last spot, mainly because Cam Sims, standing, I believe he has 6'4", 200, I think 30 pounds. And even watching his game tape with Washington, he had a lot of jump balls in Washington. I believe he could have been utilized as a really good red zone target. You got Devontae, Hunter, Michael Mayer, Jacoby, and then you put Cam Sims in there in the red. Like, that's your red zone squad. I just feel like Jimmy would have so many options in the red zone. But hey, Christian Wilkerson's a former Patriot, knows this system. We'll see what he brings to the table come week 1 if we see him in week 1. But yeah, what is your guys' thoughts so far with the wide receivers, the running backs, and the quarterbacks? Let me get into some more of the chat. And he says, yeah, we're not gonna need Hoyer. Yeah, I hope we don't need Hoyer. Like, please, God, we don't need Hoyer. Sean Johnson says Damian Williams over Bolden. That's what I was leaning more to, Sean. But the thing is, this regime likes Bolden over Damian more than, and mainly because Bolden was with the Patriots. He was with this regime, so they're going to keep him over Damian. But man, you can't ignore what Damian brought to the table in that last preseason game. Shout out to my Pat Primo Beers in the building. What's good, Primo? Quick question: you think if this season y'all make it to the playoffs, but then get kicked out, is it still a good season in your eyes? And you know what's crazy, Beers? I do, because here's the thing. And for me, it depends how we get there. If it's anything like that, like we talked about earlier, if it's anything like the 2021 season, then no, like it's not a good season in my eyes because then we're just barely getting there. Because here's what I want to see, Beers. I want to see the Raiders convincingly win games. Like from start to finish, you are convinced the Raiders were in control of the game and they flat out just whooped on the opposing team. That let's say Jimmy Garoppolo and the Raiders start 6-2, and then they make the playoffs at 9-8. Is that a good playoff record to go into? And then you got to go on the road against Buffalo, or you got to go on the road against Kansas City, or on the road against Cincinnati, or against the Ravens on the road. Like, and speaking from, because you're a Patriot fan, Beers, you love those home playoff games, right? You loved going 12-4 or 13-3, and you had a bye, or you were guaranteed at least one playoff game. You start the season 6-2, and you make the playoffs at 9-8, and then you go into the playoffs, and you have to go on the road from then and there. Now, don't get me wrong. If they win on the road, all three, like they pull a Tennessee Titans shit, and they go on and they win it on the road, hey, I'm cool with that. But the thing is, you go 6-2, and it's up to you at that point. It's in your hands at that point to make the playoffs or you don't. Like, that's my opinion on it. I know a lot of people won't agree with it, but the thing is, for the Raiders to be taken seriously, they got to go out there and convincingly win games. They got to go out there and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Not go into Kansas City, or even when Kansas City comes down to Allegiant, barely squeeze out a win. Like, you got to go in there and beat them for you to be considered as a serious playoff contender. Like, that's just my opinion. Anthony says, no, if we make the playoffs and lose again, another unsuccessful season. We have, as a Raider fan, finally want to go deep in the playoffs, a conference championship in Las Vegas. You know, Anthony, I'll say if we make the divisional rounds, that's a win in my book, because we're gonna make the wild card. Like, I don't see us winning the division. I see us maybe finishing in second to the Chiefs, because the Chiefs are the king of the West until the Raiders, Chargers, or Broncos can prove me otherwise. The Raiders, I believe, can finish second in the division, go to the wild card, and if they win a wild card game, I feel like that's a success. But if you make the playoffs, you go to the wild card, and you lose that wild card game, that's an unsuccessful season. Because we're just the thing is, 2016, we made the playoffs, lost the wild card game. We made the playoffs. 2021, lost the wild card game. We're repeating cycles here. If we make the playoffs and make it to the wild card game, and we lose in the wild card game, you're repeating a cycle. Like, can we win a playoff game? Like, that will be a successful season to me. And making it is a dub. It is a dub. But speaking as a Pats fan too, Beers, if I was to reiterate this, the Pats made the playoffs in 2021 and got blown the F out by the Buffalo Bills. Got flat out embarrassed on national TV in the playoffs. Like, the Bills told the Pats, you guys did not deserve to make it to the playoffs. We whooped y'all. What was it, like 44-11? Like, the score was? Like, that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, you're going to get exposed in the playoffs, and you're going to get shown that you are either a playoff team or you're not a playoff team. And sorry to put your Pats, on the spotlight, but the Patriots were shown in that playoff game they were not a playoff team. Yeah, it was funny though. Yeah, you did tell me. And yeah, Anthony, it's definitely a repeating cycle. Straight trash for like 5-6 years, then go to the wild card and lose. And yeah, Anthony, like, you know what's crazy, Anthony? I know I said earlier in the season I would be satisfied making the playoffs. I will call that a win. But you know what? When I started having these debates about the 2021 season, and then I looked back at the 2016 season, and don't get me wrong, that 2016 season, if Carr didn't get hurt, yeah, we probably would have made a deep playoff run, but we didn't. We lost in the wild card, and then 2021 we lost in the wild card. I'm tired of like, yes, we made it to the playoffs just for us to lose in the wild card. Like, for me, like, why make the playoffs if you're gonna go out there to just shit the bed? Like, there's no, like, come out with some fight. Not saying they didn't come out, because I believe they did fight in that Bengals game, but that last drive, you guys, please tell me that last drive, you got 4 chances to get the ball in the end zone. You're at, I believe, what, the 7-yard line? What was it? Like 7, 10, somewhere outside the 10-yard line. And there was like, what, 2 shots to the end zone, I think. And then on a 4th down, you don't even get the ball in the end zone. You get the ball into triple coverage at the 1-yard line. You didn't even give the Raiders a chance to go into overtime. And that's where I'm just, it's probably all the frustration, Anthony. All the frustration of losing season after season after season. If we get to the playoffs, go make a deep playoff run. Go at least to the divisional rounds and go make it a battle. Don't go out there and just get blunt, go lay a goose egg out there on the field and get your guys' asses blown the F out. Like, you guys, you know what, Anthony? They owe us Raider fans. They owe us Raider fans, you guys. They owe us like a playoff win. They owe us at least that, one playoff win. And I'll be cool with that. And then next season, imagine building off of that. Not only did you make the playoffs, you won a playoff game. You now McDaniels and Ziegler are like, okay, we have a team that made the playoffs. Not only made the playoffs, but then they won a playoff game. So now we know what to hit now. What are the weak links? Linebacker unit. We're going to go out and get some linebackers from free agency, or we're going to go hit in the draft. Maybe fix up the offensive line a little bit. Think about it, you guys. Think about it this real quick. How much of pieces? There's only like the linebacker unit and the offensive line unit that have question marks. The whole defense as a whole, probably yes, but for defensive line, they addressed it. Secondary, they addressed it. Linebackers, not so much. But if they were to go to the playoffs, win a playoff game, they would go into next season with more confidence to ride off of than to making the playoffs, losing a wild card game. That's just my opinion. My opinion. Shout out to Anthony. And again, to make it interesting, kick a field goal, tie in overtime. Yeah. No, I think it was we had to score, Anthony, we had to score a touchdown. And I think, are you talking about the Bengals game? We had to score a touchdown to tie. Field goal wasn't going to tie it. We had to score a touchdown. Sean Johnson, this offense is the best since 2003 offense. This offense gives me Rich Gannon, Tim Brown, and Jerry Rice vibes. In the past 20 years, this is the strongest offense we had that Super Bowl. And yeah, salute to everyone pulling up. Hey, Robert, hey, agree to disagree, bro. It's all love. All love here at Raiders Primos, man. Shout out to Natural Nate. Always bring it. Oh, man. Nate over here choosing violence. But yeah, let's get more back into it. So we're at the tight ends. And I don't think this was a surprise either. Michael Mayer getting that tight end 1 spot. You got Michael Mayer, Austin Hooper, Jesper Horsted as your tight ends. Now, I'm going to say this, you guys. I am glad that Michael Mayer is tight end 1. Now, I was more on the edge with it, but I'm actually excited about it. Here's why. I wanted Michael Mayer to be tight end 2 to learn from Austin Hooper, but now seeing based off preseason, it looks like just based off that little rollout that Jimmy Garoppolo hit Michael Mayer, I feel like we're going to see a lot of that. Not just the rollout. I'm talking about the Michael Mayer, Jimmy Garoppolo connection. We're going to see a lot of that in this 2023 season. And it is something that Raider Nation should be excited about. Anthony Estrada, mid-offseason, what did you grade this draft for the Raiders? This draft class is all making the 53. Now, here's my grade for it. My grade was a B, was actually a B+. And it was mainly due to the fact that they waited to get a linebacker in the later rounds. I thought they would get I like the Michael Mayer pick, shocked me. It shocked me. But I gave them a B+ because they addressed the D-line. You got Tyree Wilson, who wasn't even supposed to fall to you guys. He was supposed to be a top 5 pick. But people were afraid to get him because of his ankle injury. and he's looking like he's going to start week 1. Then you go out and you get possibly the best tight end coming out of the draft in Michael Mayer in the 2nd round. Yes, was it a shock? But they let go Waller. And we thought, hey, Foster Moreau was going to be the guy. They let him go. He was dealing with his thing with, with cancer, and salute to him that he's back in the NFL. Prayers up to him that he's able to finish out his career as long as he can, that his health is going to be straight. You go out and you address the tight end position. Then in the 3rd round, then you go back to the D line, and not even you address the D line, you go and you get a defensive tackle in Byron Young. And then with the 4th or with the 100th pick, you get Trey Tucker. And then you go get Aiden O'Connell. Like, they were addressing needs for the future. These are draft picks that are not for right now. They are for not only now, but for the future. They are for the future. You get Trey Tucker, who could be your future kick returner, but also a slot guy who could take the top off the defense. Tyree Wilson is your future DE when Chandler Jones decides to retire. Michael Mayer is your future tight end for years to come. Byron Young is hoping to be that future defensive tackle that is going to help out Max Crosby and Tyree Wilson for years to come. Aiden O'Connell is that future quarterback when they're ready to move on from Jimmy G. The thing is, all of these draft picks were future guys that possibly can all of them, not just 2 of them, 3 of them, or 4 of them, all draft picks can change the Raiders for years to come. Jacorian Bennett, he's already a start. Like, he is already a starter on this defense. Chris Smith, I'm surprised he's not. He may be starting mid-season. Like, it is an exciting time for the Raiders to now not be looked at as a team that can't draft, that they can't scout. Because I believe Ziegler, he did his due diligence, and he got guys that fit what the Raiders want to do here. So shout out to them, man. Shout out to Dave Ziegler. Sean Johnson, on an early note, we have 10 draft picks at the moment in 2024. A 1st, a 2nd, a 3rd, a 4th, a 5th, 2 6s, and 3 7s. And Sean, they're going to keep on coming. They're going to keep on coming. Let's not sleep on this regime because we know they move quiet. But let's continue, guys. We're getting a little off track here at Raiders Primos. And then for the offensive line, you got Colton Miller, Justin Herron, Dylan Parham, Andre James, Jordan Meredith, Greg Van Roten, Jermaine Illuminor, and Thayer Munford Jr. And you guys, the thing is, I'm happy with this offensive line, but there's 2 names that are missing from this line. And you guys know Dalton Wagner and McClendon Curtis. I wish they made the 53, but I'm not going to lie, you guys. Looking at it in front of me, the offensive line, there's just not enough room for them. Thayer Munford, again, another draft pick in the 2022 draft, another draft pick that's going to be the future right tackle of the Raiders. And then you got Greg Van Roten, who's been having an amazing camp. And then even in there in the preseason games, showing that he is that guy to hold down the right guard position. Jordan Meredith, he played at almost every position. He is versatile. And one thing we know about Carmen Basillo, you got to be versatile on this offensive line. And then you got Andre James, who, he had that spot locked. Same with Parham and same with Colton Miller. And then Justin Herron is basically, even though it was surprising, though, he got beat by Cleve Farrell badly in week 1. I don't know how he played as to the Rams and the Cowboys game, but he obviously played well. He made the final 53. But yes, I am happy with the offensive line, you guys, to an extent, of course, because I would have loved to see Dalton Wagner and Curtis make the actual depth chart. But yeah, looking at it in front of me, not enough room, you guys, just not enough room. I feel like if they were able to keep, I think, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they kept 8 linemen. If they were going to keep 10, trust me, guys, those 2 would have made it. But there is just talent all over this offense. And it was, it was really hard, I bet, for Zeke. I'm glad I was not in that war room discussing who made the team and who didn't, because they had talent all over this offense. And I bet it was very, very hard for them to not give these guys a chance to make the starting roster, or at least this final 53 cut. And then our special teamers, you got punter AJ Cole, kicker Daniel Carlson, long snapper Jacob Bobenmoyer. Bro, I am going to butcher that last name if I have to say it again. And then you got the return man, DeAndre Carter, who is going to be returning punts and kicks. And you guys, that is exciting. We're not going to have Hunter Renfrow returning kicks anymore. We're going to have DeAndre Carter returning kicks. And again, from what he's shown in the preseason, I'm predicting he's taking a punt return and a kick return to the house. And you know what? We're going to see one in 2 weeks against the Broncos. We're going to see one of those happening. But yes, what do you guys think about this offense? Let me know down in the comments. Is there anything you guys would have loved different about the depth chart? Who are some guys that you guys believe should have made the final 53? And who are some guys that you guys want to see in midseason possibly take a roster spot in regards to the offense? Let me get into some more of these comments. Sean says, hot take. I wouldn't be surprised if a 7th round DT, Nesta J. Silvera, becomes a starting DT before the season ends. That's a hot take. You know what, Sean? I wouldn't even be surprised either. You know why? Because the thing is, people got to think about this. That last Cowboys game, the defense played like crap because 97% of that defense was never going to be on the Raiders squad. Put Nesta J. Silvera and Byron Young next to Max Crosby or Chandler Jones or Tyree Wilson. Makes the biggest difference in the world. It makes the biggest difference in the world. And yes, Anthony Garbers did get released. He did get released. I don't know if he made the practice squad. I didn't see the full lineup on the practice squad. Shout out to Sean. He was sending it to me, but I didn't want to look at it until the live happened. So basically, we can all have the same reaction as I announce it. But yes, Garbers did get released. As far as I know, I don't know if he's on the practice squad. I didn't hear anything on him. I don't even know if he was picked up by any other team. And Anthony, yeah, all right, Primo, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Nation family, agree to disagree. Yeah, that's true. And salute to you, Anthony, for pulling up, man. Thank you. Sean said Dalton Wagner is stashed away until 2024, and that kept Justin Herron at backup left tackle because Brandon Parker went down for the year. And you know what, Sean? That is the smartest move that Ziegler did. And you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of the Sincere McCormick when he put him on the IR. And he wasn't even telling people what the injury was. He just got stashed away for a year so he could come back. And, with that, you guys, let's get into this defense. Let's get into the defense. For the defensive line, let's go defensive ends. You got Max Crosby, Tyree Wilson, Chandler Jones, and Malcolm Koonce. That is your defensive ends. I'm not going to lie, you guys. I'm really shocked that Malcolm Koonce made the final 53. 50-50, actually. Reason being is because week 1, he got a little pressure, but it was his presser, you guys. Like, there was a presser he had weeks ago, and he looked defeated up there. Like, he looked like he didn't want to be here. And I'm like, oh, yeah, man, this guy, it's over. Malcolm's going to get cut. But then, against the Rams, and I think he did play against the Cowboys. I could be wrong. But I know against the Rams and even against the Niners, he had a lot of pressure getting to the quarterback. I don't think he got any sacks, but he was getting close. And I'm hoping he brings that motor to the regular season because honestly, you guys, I want to see Chandler Jones in there about 50% of the time in snaps. He's getting up there in age. He's not the same guy as he was. Playing him 100% of the snaps is just not going to cut it. Put Tyree Wilson in there. Put Malcolm Koonce in there. Put fresh legs in there to beat these offensive line who have been in the game all day long. Put fresh legs in there. And Patrick Graham, that will likely save your job. Rotate guys more and more. But then let's go to the interior. The interior, you got Jerry Tillery, John Jenkins, Bilal Nichols, Adam Butler, and Byron Young, and Nesta J. Silvera. And you guys, this defensive tackle room, I like it. I like it because we got Nesta and Byron still there. But Adam Butler, I'm glad. Like, the thing is with Neil Farrell, the reason why I feel like he got traded and we got a 7th out of it, I'm cool with that. Why? Because Neil Farrell really didn't show any production when he was in there. But Adam Butler, he really showed a lot of, and like, again, you guys think about this. Put John Jenkins or Jerry Tillery, Bilal Nichols, Adam Butler, put them with Max Crosby or Chandler Jones at the edges, and then you plug those guys in the interior. It makes all the difference in the world. Like, that's why I'm not liking that people were shitting on Patrick Graham about this defense going against the Cowboys and how they looked awful out there. Like, guys, 97% of that defense was never going to be on this team. And also, put some of these young bucks with superstars like Max Crosby and Chandler Jones, who's a vet. It's going to make the entire difference in the world. But what do you guys think about these defensive line? I'm gonna ask you guys a question. I'm gonna put the banner up. How many sacks will the Raiders defensive line have in 2023? This is a nation question. How many sacks will the Raiders defensive line have in 2023? Why is this an important question? It's important because if you can send four, and you can have your linebackers and your secondary drop back in coverage, that does wonders for you. But how many sacks will the Raiders defensive line have in 2023? Salute to Charles Washington for pulling up. Guys, if you guys have not checked out Raiders Primos, this is your first time joining us, please think about hitting that subscribe button. We are at 377. We are getting close to 400. So share the link around. Share with your friends. Share with your family. Share with your girl. Share with your girl's friends. Share with your boys' friends. Like, bro, just share it all around. Get Raiders Primos to 400. And nation, we can't do it without you. We appreciate all the support. And hit the bell also, so you guys are not late to future lives, and you guys are not late to see a video drop when we drop it. Sean says, I think this team lit fire under Kuntz's ass. That's what competition does. It prevent guys from being lazy. If you are, you're out of here with this regime. And yeah, exactly, Sean. And the thing is, I think Josh McDaniels, he talked about it after the Cowboys games. He said the cuts is going to be very, very difficult, because you got talent everywhere. You got talent everywhere. You got depth at every position, but you can't keep all those guys. And that's a good thing to have, as much as it sucks to cut some of these guys, because you don't want to cut everyone, but you have to, because, you got to cut them down to 53. But he said it's a good thing to have when you have talent at every, not just with the starters, but with the second stringers and the third stringers and so on and so forth. Orlando says maybe 10. I'm going to go a little higher than that, Orlando, because think about Max Crosby is also on that line, and I think Max Crosby is going to have at least 15 sacks this season. I think Chandler's going to have 8, so that's already 23 right there from those two. Yeah, that's 23. I'm gonna say 30 from this line. 15 from Max, 8 from Chandler. I'm gonna say 3 from Byron. And then you're gonna get 4 from Adam Butler. You know what? We might even go higher than that, because I feel like Nesta might get some too, maybe 2. So maybe 32, 33 from the line. I know, guys, that's a little high, but it's mainly because of Max Crosby. He's a superstar. I think he's going to get 15 sacks this season. Sean Johnson. Neil Farrell Jr. was a 4th rounder. Oh, it was a 4th rounder? We got a 6th rounder. Oh, we got a 6th rounder for him from the Quees. For Ziegler to trade within the division, they know his ceiling is not that high. And the Quees wanted him because of the Chris Jones holdout. And you know that's crazy, Sean. I feel like, bro, Ziegler just absolutely robbed the Chiefs with that trade. And the thing is, we know with Ziegler, he cares a lot about draft capital. He cares a lot about draft capital. And to get more draft picks is important to Ziegler because that is where you build your Super Bowl contending teams, not just playoff teams. This season, he built a playoff team. Next season, he's building a Super Bowl contender, and not just for next year, but for years to come. He wants to build a Super Bowl contender for years to come. Salute to my primo natural Nate. Who you think finna be the most improved player for the Raiders in 2023? Well, let me look at this depth chart real quick. Let me finish the depth chart, Nate, and I'll come back to that question. Let's look at our linebackers. We got Luke Masterson, Amari Burney, Devon Diablo, Curtis Bolton, and Robert Spillane. That is your linebacker group. You got your starters as Luke Masterson, Devon Diablo, Robert Spillane. I don't think there's any surprises here, you guys, other than Drake Thomas. He got picked up by Seattle, you guys, and that hurts because I really thought Drake Thomas was going to make this 53-man roster. I just seeing him, how he made plays in the run game. And I believe he had really good coverage stats also. I think the regime played a risk by waiving him, hoping to claim him back on the practice squad. But there's 31 other teams looking at your guys. Like, he was not going to get to you guys. And Seattle, Bobby Wagner is getting up there in age. They needed a replacement for him. Drake Thomas, everybody. He's going to be the replacement. But I'm not, and I know a lot of people hate on Curtis Bolton, but I think we may see a resurrection with Curtis Bolton. He may not just be that special teams player. He seems more aggressive on the defense, and I'm loving that because that's not just with him. That is with everyone on this defense. They are all aggressive. They all want to make a play on the ball. They don't want to, just play it safe. They want to attack the football. And that, as a defense, I love it. I love it. Here's the starting secondary, you guys. I'm going to include corners and safeties in this. You got Jacorian Bennett, Brendan Faison, Nate Hobbs, Amik Robertson, Marcus Peters, David DeLong Jr., Trayvon Merrick, Isaiah Palomau, Marcus Epps, Roderick Teamer, and Chris Smith. That is your secondary, you guys. Jacorian Bennett, you guys, like I said, I believe, Sean, help me out here. He was a 5th rounder, right? Jacorian Bennett was a 5th round pick, and look at that, you guys. He's already starting across from probably one of the top corners in the league in Marcus Peters. And then you also got Nate Hobbs going back to the nickel. Like, I love that. Nate Hobbs was a absolute gem at the nickel position. I just think that he had flashes at the outside. He did, but his game is in the nickel. The question mark I have is Amik Robertson. I don't think he had a really good preseason. I know he had a drop interception. But like I said, I thought Duke Shelley was probably going to take that spot, or even Tyler Hall for that matter. But yeah, Amik, he made the squad. Go ball out, Amik, because I know he's been, having some words about media's hating on him and this and that. Go ball out, my guy. Just go ball out. Like, that's what I want. So that is 26 defensive players on the roster, and there's 28 total for the offensive guys. And that is going to round up to 54. Like I said, you guys, Brian Hoyer is that emergency quarterback. Does not count to the 53. So that is your 54-man roster. What do you guys think about that? What is going to be your guys' grade for the roster? Do you guys think Josh McDaniels, he nailed it? He got an A. Do you think there were some question marks that he made, giving him a B? Do you guys think there's a lot more question marks, that there's a lot more guys that you guys would have preferred over, give him a C? Or did they just flat out do bad? They just flat out did bad? D, or are you just hating at this point and giving him an F? Like, are you really just hating at this point? Orlando, do you think Crosby will get 5 sacks before the home opener game? Orlando, I'm gonna hit you with some sarcasm because of the way you worded here. Before the home opener game, I don't know because we don't have a game before the home. Oh, before the home. I'm stupid. I'm so stupid. I'm thinking week 1, Orlando. Bro, forgive me, bro. Forgive me. I was thinking week 1. Yeah, why not? Like, I could see him getting 3 sacks against the Donkeys week 1, and then I could see him getting 2 sacks against the Bills. I think he could get 5 sacks. He'll get at least 4. I'll say that, Orlando. He'll get at least 4. Bro, Nate. Bro, don't clip that, Nate. Don't clip that. That's embarrassing. Don't clip that. But yeah, Orlando, I think he could get 5, minimum 4. He gets 4. Sean says, trade for linebacker Patrick Queen from Baltimore or go get a linebacker, Nicholas Morrow or Nick Kwiatkowski or Rashaan Evans or even Deion Jones or Kyle Van Noy. And you know what's crazy, Sean? This shows there's a lot of linebackers out there. And let's go back to it. Our linebackers are Luke Masterson, Amari Burney, Devon Diablo, Curtis Bolton, and Robert Spillane, with Spillane being the veteran in that linebacker room. What Zeke is telling me, by not getting a linebacker, he trusts that linebacker room. And what's crazy, you guys, I don't trust that linebacker room. I don't. As a fan, I know, he's a GM. So what he says goes. But as a fan, I don't. I don't trust that linebacker room. The thing is, they are the weakest link out of this entire defense. You got a second-year guy in Luke Masterson who's going to his first full season as a starter. You got Devon Diablo, who's coming off an injury, having his first full season as a starter, and also calling the plays for the defense. Calling the plays for the defense. And then you got Robert Spillane, who is going into his first year under Patrick Graham's system with the Raiders. So you got first year as your linebacker group. Like, there's big questions at the linebacker position. I would love to go get a Patrick Queen or even a Kyle Van Noy, but mainly a Rashaan Evans. I really believe Patrick Graham will love a Rashaan Evans. The speed that he has for a linebacker, watching his game, Sean, that, you sent me some tape on him. Really great attack in the run, and then also just pass defending. Rashaan Evans is a guy that he's not going to lock up Travis Kelce in the entire game, but he is going to make it difficult. He won't make it easy. He will not make it easy. I would prefer Duke Shelley over David Long. And yeah, I thought Shelley was going to make it, Sean, honestly. And I thought David Long was a camp body. When we signed him, I thought he was a camp body. I came on here and I was like, hey, David Long Jr., probably just a camp body, just to, get more reps, get some rest to some of these corners. Did not see him making the 53. And also, Sean, when I think, was it Graf that talked about it? When Duke played with the starters compared to how he played with the third string guys, it was different. It was completely different. Like, Duke was out there balling with the starters, and then the third stringers, he's playing with third stringers out there against the Cowboys, and he's getting cooked out there. He can't guard, for 7-8 seconds. Like, I'm gonna keep it real. Like, but also, I'm not gonna lie, there was times he was getting cooked out there. Even like at 2-3 seconds, he was getting cooked out there. Okay, there's a lot of B. Yeah, I'm going B+ too, you guys. Carlos, we look good on paper. Yeah, I agree. I agree, you guys. Sean says, also back to Orlando, he said, I question linebackers. I do too, man. Sean says, unless with Patrick Graham's scheme, he values DBs more with 3 high safety sets and use 2 linebackers mostly. Sean, I don't know if it's 3 high safety sets. It's more he brings a safety into the box with the linebackers. So, yes, that is more his scheme. He uses 2 linebackers, brings a safety into the box, and plays 2 safety high. That is more of his coverage. It's more of a full. I think it's a 3-4 hybrid. Is or a 4-3 hybrid, I believe. 4-3 hybrid, bringing a safety into the box. And he rotates, I think, from 4-3 to 3-4 hybrids. Now let's get real quick, you guys. Let's get into the practice squad. And then after that, we'll talk about some other things that's going on with the Raiders. So with the practice squad, the Las Vegas Raiders have signed the following 14 players to the practice squad. The club announced Wednesday. They signed defensive end David I cannot say that name, man. Ogua. I think that's the guy from Nigeria from the international portal. Defensive tackle Matthew Butler. Guard McLennan Curtis. I'm happy with that we got him to the practice squad. Tight end Cole Fotheringham. Safety Jaden Grant, cornerback Tyler Hall, linebacker Kanam Muaga, running back Sincere McCormick, guard Natane Moody, defensive end Isaac Rochelle, wide receiver Devin Ross, tight end John Samuel Shanker, cornerback Sam Webb, and wide receiver Antoine Wesley. And then also, you guys, there is also on the IR, the season-ending IR, tight end Jacob Hollister, running back Britton Brown, running back Austin Walter, wide receiver Isaiah Zuber, wide receiver Chris Lacey, right tackle Dalton Wagner, linebacker Darian Butler, and cornerback Jordan Perryman. And we also signed, and then also the newest addition to the Raiders practice squad is defensive end, as we said, Janarius Robinson. He's a former fourth-round pick by the Vikings. He is 6'5", 268 pounds. He is an edge rusher, and he hasn't caught on yet due to injuries. He posted 12 pressures, 6 stops, and a sack in 148 snaps this preseason. He has a high upside, and he is a huge athlete. Also, free agent wide receiver Marquez Callaway will be signing with the Raiders practice squad per source. He was waived by Denver this week. Callaway had 2,609 yards and 14 touchdowns with the New Orleans Saints since 2020. And, that is one guy I wanted to talk about, you guys, Marquez Callaway. This could be a steal, you guys. If Wilkerson is not getting it done and Renfrow starts dealing with injuries again, and, Trey Tucker and DeAndre Carter, they're more of those speed guys, and they're short guys. Let me look at Marquez Callaway, his build real quick, you guys. Let me bring him on. He is 6'2", stands at 6'2", 205 pounds, and he is a deep threat receiver, you guys. But he is 6'2". You got DeAndre Carter, Trey Tucker, who is more on the smaller side. I believe Max is like 5'11" for DeAndre, and I think Trey's at 5'10", 5'11". And then you got Callaway, who's 6'2", but also can take the top off of defense. This can be a really, really sneaky pickup for the Raiders going down the stretch if injuries, they're going to happen. It's the NFL. So, yes, injuries. I believe he's going to stay on the practice squad. He's not going to just come onto the starting roster. But sneaky pickup, you guys. Watch out for Marcus Callaway. Sean says, I see Polamalu being dropped down. Oh. And I think this is going to come down to, Sean, it's going to come down to Polamalu, depending how he is in coverages. If he's blowing coverages and he is the weakest link out of the cornerback room, out of the safety room, he will be dropped down. But also, who is better? Oh, wait. Chris Smith. I forgot. You swap Polamalu down for Tyler Hall, bring Tyler Hall back, say, he's having a good camp, good practices, and then put Polamalu down in the practice squad, move Chris Smith to take Polamalu's job, and then Chris Smith is getting more reps at that point. And you know what? And I like that. Give the young buck more reps in the regular season. It's only going to make him better. And Chris Smith, he's going to be back there with Marcus Epps. I would put him back there with Marcus Epps. If you got to rotate Trayvon Merrick in and out, do that. Unless Merrick somehow just comes out and resurrects his whole career and he balls out this season. But what else do y'all want to talk about? I still got time. It's been, like I said, it's been a long time since I talked with the nation. I don't want to just leave out for an hour. I know we usually do these shows for like an hour and 10 minutes, but there is more to talk about, you guys. The Raiders and the Eagles are tied for a surprising stat. I actually sent it to Sean, and there was some narrative going out, and I had to re-look at this. I had to go find it. It was the Las Vegas Raiders were tied with the Eagles in red zone touchdowns with 17. Now, I assumed it was correct because I was seeing it all over like media that the Raiders, they had 17 touchdowns in the red zone last season, but something just wasn't right. Me and Sean did a little bit of more digging because something was just not right. The Raiders were tied for number 1 in scoring touchdowns in the red zone, but their quarterback was ranked 28th in red zone scoring. So something just didn't add up until it turned out that it wasn't touchdowns scored in the red zone. It was touchdowns scored from outside the red zone. So yes, the Eagles and the Raiders were tied at first with 17 touchdowns scored outside of the red zone. And then you have the 49ers at 16. The Niners and the Seahawks tied at 16 for a third. The Bills 15th and 5th. The Bengals tied for 6th and with 12 with the Patriots. And dead last, which kind of hurts my heart because we lost to them, was the Steelers with 2 touchdowns outside of the red zone. And we lost to them. That's crazy. I'm going to actually look up touchdowns and touchdowns scored in the red zone. Let me pull that up. Okay, here we go. So in 2022, the highest scoring of the NFL team red zone scoring percentage, touchdowns only, not field goals, touchdowns only. The top 10 were Dallas, Kansas City, Philly, Detroit, Giants, Tennessee, Cincinnati, Minnesota, Buffalo, and Miami. That is your top 10. The Las Vegas Raiders were 26 in red zone touchdown scoring a touchdown about 48.9% of the time. So there you have it, you guys. Big difference, right? Big difference. You are scoring touchdowns. You basically lead the league in touchdowns scored outside of the red zone, but you're in the bottom half of touchdowns in the red zone. That is what separates play. Yes, Sean, there you go. There you go. All playoff teams, and we were 6-11, make it make sense. That is what separates playoff teams to the Raiders. That is what I mean by the Raiders were not a playoff team. They took it with them into the 2022 season. They were able, because they did it. You know what's crazy? They did it in the 2021 season. They scored touchdowns outside of the red zone. It was just when they got to the red zone, they could not score touchdowns to save their life. If they scored more red zone touchdowns, you guys, nation, we probably wouldn't even be divided about Derek Carr, Raiders moving on from Derek. We wouldn't even be divided about, was the 2021 Raiders a real playoff team? Did Josh McDaniels dismantle a playoff team in 2022? The 2022 Raiders would not have been 6-11. If the Raiders were more better in the red zone, we as a nation wouldn't even be having this conversation about them being 6-11, about them moving on from DC, about them getting Jimmy Garoppolo, all the drama with the Jimmy Garoppolo, Derek Carr debate. It comes down to lack of quarterback red zone touchdowns as execution. You move on from a guy that the stats prove that your quarterback was not getting it done in the red zone to a guy where stats prove he gets it done in the red zone. Scoring touchdowns was not the issue, you guys. Moving the ball was not the issue. The issue was scoring touchdowns in the red zone. Nation, that was the problem in 2022. I get it. Yes, we're going to let's look at it again. You got the Eagles, the Niners, Seahawks, Bills, Bengals, Patriots, Dolphins. Like Sean said, all playoff teams. The Raiders were with them, scoring 17 touchdowns outside of the red zone. But we're in the bottom half of scoring touchdowns in the red zone. And Nation, you guys expected Josh McDaniels to take a team that was number one in scoring touchdowns outside of the red zone, that scored like 48% of touchdowns in the red zone. You expected Josh McDaniels to take a team that was doing that to the playoffs. Like, seriously. You guys want to blame a head coach when you guys don't look at the facts. Like, I question some of Raider Nation if y'all actually watch the games. Or y'all just go on NFL on YouTube and y'all watch highlights. And you're like, oh, damn, we lost. It was the defense's fault. It was the offensive line's fault. It was, you know what? It was Derek Carr's fault. It was, it was Sam Webb's fault. It was Josh Jacobs' fault. It was Josh. Like, is that what y'all do? Do y'all actually watch the games? Watch the games. And you know what I do, guys? I record the games because in the moment I'm not paying attention to little details like that. I'm basically rolling with you guys, like the way you guys watch games. I'm like, hey, I just hope the Raiders win today. And then we break it down. But even when they lose, I rewatch it and I see what went wrong. And you know what went wrong? Red zone touchdowns was pathetic. It was pathetic. And this season, in 2023, the Raiders got a quarterback that is top 5 in red zone touchdown scoring. And that is why the Raiders in 2023, this 53-man roster, they will make the playoffs in 2023. Salute to my brother, Wasted in the building, guys. And there's some of you guys that I know most of you guys do follow my brother Wasted, but if you guys don't know who Wasted Talent is, man, go over there, subscribe to Raider Nation Unlimited, go pay the bar tab, go subscribe to the man Wasted, get wasted with him, man. Orlando, don't get on. Hey, bro, hey, Wasted, I call you the grandfather of Raider Nation, man. Wasted, you still, man. I hope he's doing good. Also, you guys, me and Nate got Raiders Primos over here. We got an amazing announcement coming up in maybe the week leading up to the game. We got a big announcement. So you guys stay tuned, subscribe, hit the bell so you guys are not late to any lives. Also, hit that like button to it helps us out to get out there for Raider Nation fans to see us. And also, you guys, I love talking Raiders football with the nation. I love it. Even if you guys don't agree with me, I told you guys numerous times, you guys don't gotta agree with me. Like, that will not make this fun. We agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, it is all about the Raiders winning. Because I know if the Raiders win, we all gonna be in here and we're gonna be having a good old time. We're gonna have, we're gonna be screaming Raiders. We're gonna be yelling. We're gonna be drinking. Like, we're gonna have all types of fun. And when they lose, hey, we can still come in here and we're gonna agree to disagree what went wrong in the Raiders game. But that is what makes this fun, that we can have a place where we can come talk Raiders football. And Nate, I know you do. And you know what's funny? I do too. But when it comes to the Raiders game, I'll be having Red Zone and the Raiders game side by side. I have Red Zone on the I have the Raider game on the big screen, and then I got Red Zone on my laptop. And so you best believe, bro, like I'm definitely gonna be watching Red Zone all season long. Also, you guys, I'm gonna be not breaking down film live because I just learned how to like kind of look at film. So I'm gonna try to get some tips from other guys how they break down film. So I'm still learning. I'm probably it gives me a chance to see it from a different perspective, not just the broadcast cam. Because I know we tried to break down film last year, but we use the broadcast cam. I don't want to do that no more. I actually want to see what's going on downfield. Like if Jimmy G doesn't hit a pass, why didn't he hit it? Was pressure in his face? Was there a guy coming over the middle and he should have seen him, but he didn't see him? Stuff like that. Shout out to Sean. He said, "Did you see that stat about Jimmy? I sent to your IG where let me see. I think you did. Let me see. Oh, yeah, it's right here. Shout out to Sean. He sent this to me, sliding in my DMs. Active quarterbacks with highest regular season winning percentage, minimum of 10 starts. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Jimmy Garoppolo, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. And, here's what's crazy, you guys. We need to cut the narrative that Jimmy Garoppolo is a bad quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo is not a bad quarterback. The only knock on Jimmy G is he can't stay healthy. He cannot stay healthy. The only thing that Jimmy G does is get porn star women and he wins football games. That's all Jimmy G does. He goes to the bunny ranch. He goes get his strippers for the night. And then he comes in Sunday and he goes win a football game. He is Himothy. He is Himmy. Orlando says, I swear, if we let Chiefs take over our home, I'm going to pick a fight here in KC. Oh, man. Bro, Jimmy. I said Jimmy. Orlando. You know what's funny, man? That it hurt. That back-to-back years, bro, the Chiefs invaded Allegiant Stadium. It hurt. But the thing is, Orlando, I need to ask you this. We played Kansas City, like both times we played Kansas City late in the year. Now, the first time we had a winning record. So I'm kind of surprised that the Raiders didn't go out, like Raider fans didn't make the trip to go out there. But I also understand it. It is hard to make a trip to go out there from out here because me and Nate, we live in the Bay Area. We live in Oakland. We live close. We live close to Oakland. We don't live in Oakland, just not giving the exact state because people be on some weird shit, and we ain't gonna be giving our our locations like that. You don't get that here at Raiders Primos, but it's hard out here. It is hard for Raider fans to make the trip from Oakland to Las Vegas. Are we loyal? Yes, we are loyal, but I'm gonna keep it honest with you guys. I was looking at tickets for me to take me and my girl up to Vegas, hopefully to make that Jets and Raiders game. You guys, $2,500. $2,500 for flight, for hotel stay, and for the Raiders tickets themselves. It is not easy to make a trip to Vegas. That's why when this move happened, I was very, very upset. Because it was a great business move. And I know I've seen it all over media that the Raiders broke like $6 billion that they're worth. And people are like, oh, it was great for Mark Davis. Guys, great business decision for Mark Davis. That is more money coming into Mark Davis's pockets. But you know what the Vegas move showed me? I don't think he cares about money more than he cares about the fans. And you know what? I'm not saying he doesn't care about the fans. He just cares about the money more. He cares about the money more than he cares about the fans. Why do I say that? It's because he cared about the fans. You would have heard our cry, our roar when you had your last season in Oakland. even your second to last season in Oakland, how we roared in that Coliseum when you guys were 0-10 in 2014, when you guys went 4-12 in 2018, all those losing seasons in Oakland, and that Coliseum roared for the Raiders. Not got loud. It roared. It was next to Oracle Arena that I would feel it got loud just like Oracle Arena. Oakland was known for being the most rowdiest fans and the loudest fans for a team that stunk for years. And you finally are building something. And you're not in Oakland. And you left the fans high and dry. The loyal fans in Los Angeles. The loyal fans in Oakland. And they want to see the Raiders. They want to go to Allegiant Stadium, go to Vegas, and root for the team they grew up loving. And Mark Davis, they can't do that. Why? Because Vegas is always about business. Vegas is going to be about business. And Mark Davis, get ready to become the new Chargers of the NFL, where opposing fans are going to sell out Allegiant Stadium, and you're going to be questioning, and you're going to be going into the media like, it is embarrassing that our fans don't show up. Lower those ticket prices down, and then we can talk. Because $2,500 just for a weekend in Vegas, I can't do it. And it's not like I won't do it because I want to do it. But I can't do it because I got other things that I got to take care of. I got a house I got to take care of. I got things that I got to take care of. And I'm speaking as a fan, you guys. I'm speaking for Raider Nation because I feel like there's a lot of fans out there that say, oh, there's fake fans that don't show up. No, it's not that they don't want to show up. It's that they can't show up. Like, don't get it twisted. Raider Nation is the most loyal fan base in the NFL. They can't show up. It's not that they don't want to, it's that they can't. Don't get it twisted. And Sean, I did hear about that. You know what? I'll actually play that over the speaker. Here is what Stephen A. Smith had to say. Shout out to Raider Resistance on Instagram. They posted it. Trying to find it. Going deep in the archives of my feed. Hey. What? Oh my gosh. Oh, here we go. This is what, shout out to Raiders Resistance on Instagram. This is what Stephen A. Smith had to say about Jimmy Garoppolo, stating it is a weird situation in Santa Clara in regards to the quarterbacks. He got asked a question, how did he feel about Trey Lance getting traded? Jimmy Garoppolo said it's a weird situation over there in Santa Clara with the quarterbacks. Stephen A. Smith had this to say.
My perspective is Jimmy Garoppolo needs to shut the hell up. Okay. Just shut up and play. Okay? Nobody want to hear from you.
He was asked this question though.
I'm talking about Jimmy. I'm talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm certainly not saying that to you and Dan.
Serious. Jimmy Garoppolo was asked point blank, what do you think of the situation?
Been a lot of weird situations over there. I'm going by what he said. I'm not talking about him literally talking. It's the words that he chose. First of all, let's understand who Jimmy Garoppolo is. He's a damn good quarterback when he's playing, but it's rare that he plays. He spends more time in an infirmary than on a football field, some would argue. Okay, if he ain't doing that, he's with porn stars on Melrose.
Oh, that happened one time.
In California. Okay, I'm saying that you know of. I happen to know a little bit more than that. You know, that's why I call him porn star Jimmy. And then when you got that going, then when you don't have that going on, okay? Then when you don't have that going on, you missing throws in a Super Bowl that could have helped your team win. Let's be clear as to what I have said. I have been on the record saying this in the past, and I'm going to say this again. The 49ers didn't win because of Jimmy Garoppolo. They've won in spite of Jimmy Garoppolo. They were the number one ranked defense last year. You missing throws in the Super.
And that is what Stephen A. Smith had to say about Raiders quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, that statement, the 49ers didn't win because of Jimmy G. They won in spite of Jimmy G. Now, I will say this. Without a quarterback, you're nothing. Look at the Denver Broncos, Stephen A. Denver Broncos had the number 2 ranked defense, had the 32nd ranked offense, had a quarterback in Russell Wilson who people thought was going to, have a great, he was going to bring the Denver Broncos back to glory. He was going to be like Peyton Manning, he was going to lead the Broncos to the playoffs. He was going to lead the Broncos to be the one team to dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs. How'd that work out for the Broncos? The point is, Jimmy G is a damn good quarterback. And you said it. You said it. You said he's a damn good quarterback. The only problem is he's in the infirmary more than he's on the football field. I agree with that with you. But a healthy Jimmy G is a dangerous Jimmy G. And for people to think that a healthy Jimmy G is not going to take a 6-11 Raiders team that was, like I said, 6-11 last year and make them competitive, make them in the hunt for the playoffs. I don't know what football y'all was watching. Because like Orlando said Jimmy took a 1-10 team to the playoffs. He came in, he won 5 straight games. Niners finished 6-10. The following year, they go to the playoffs. How does that happen? How does that happen, you guys? How does that happen? It wasn't because their defense was number 1. It wasn't because they had weapons at the wide receiver position. Not saying they didn't, but it started with one person, Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'm not saying he's here to stay for long term, but for people to think that Jimmy Garoppolo can't win with the Raiders, y'all just hoping for Jimmy G to fail. And you know what's funny? Jimmy G hears that. And he's glad that you're hoping he fails, because he can't wait to shut you guys up week 1 against the Broncos. Shout out to Sean. He says, Josh Jacobs, on significance of changing to number 8, that's the number I've worn all my life. It's the number that brings out something different in me. Something about 8 makes me feel like a superhero for real. And if I was the Denver Broncos, Sean, I'd be shaking in my shoes, because the donkey killer is coming to Denver. Sean Johnson, look at the 49ers record without Jimmy G. It's horrible. Wasn't the defense, because why all other quarterbacks, they was losing. And you know what's funny, Sean? Nobody talks about the fact that the Niners team doctors and the Niners offensive line are just downright bad, because Jimmy G was not getting, you know what's funny? Before Jimmy G, Niners quarterbacks were getting hurt. CJ Beathard, Colin Kaepernick, just to name a few. Alex Smith. Is it a 49er thing that quarterbacks just go down? People has Niner fans and Raider fans and NFL media, have you guys stopped to ask yourself, why did the Niners trade for Jimmy G in the 2017 season? Oh, you know why? Because all their quarterbacks were getting hurt. Did you guys ever think about that? So don't make this a Jimmy G thing, that Jimmy G, he just can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy because he's on a team that would rather throw their quarterback out there while he's still injured just to win a playoff game. You got Trey Lance hurt, Jimmy Garoppolo hurt, Brock Purdy hurt, Josh Johnson hurt. 4 quarterbacks the Niners lost last season, and people want to make it a Jimmy G thing that he just can't stay healthy. Instead of looking at it from a more open perspective. And maybe the Niners team doctors are just not doing their job. And maybe Kyle Shanahan is putting his quarterback in when he should not be putting him in. The Raiders did their due diligence this offseason and made sure Jimmy G was healthy enough for OTAs. He wasn't ready for OTAs. So you know what Ziegler did? Hey, Jimmy, I got to rework this contract real quick. Here's your contract. So here's the thing, Jimmy. Because you're not ready right now, I don't feel comfortable with signing you to a long-term deal, signing you to a guaranteed money deal. I'm going to be straight up with you. You're betting on yourself here. Because you get injured, you're gone this first season. I'm not paying you nothing. Now, if you ball out, and I'll pay you in that second year, I'll pay you in that third year. And you know what Jimmy said? You know what he said? I don't have a pen. I usually have a pen near me. But you know what he said? Grabs a pen. And he signed the contract. You know why? Because he knows that the NFL media wants to use his injury as an excuse. Oh, he's a bad quarterback. He's a bad quarterback. He can't stay healthy. You know what's funny, you guys? That's the only reason they say Jimmy G is a bad quarterback. He can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy. He can't play a full 17 games. I haven't heard one person give me an actual reason to why Jimmy G is a bad quarterback. I can give you why Derek Carr is a decent quarterback or an average quarterback. He's going to give you 2 touchdowns a game. He's going to probably throw more yards and he's going to throw more touchdowns. He may have maybe 4 or 5 good games in him. He's not going to hold a second half lead. He's after 2 touchdowns, he's done for the day. In the second half, he's really going to probably shut down. If he gets hit one time, Joey Bosa said it himself. He shrivels up like a kid, like a baby going into the fetal position. That's average quarterback play. Give me reasons why Jimmy G is like Derek Carr or even worse than Derek Carr. Because you know what's crazy, you guys? There's Niner fans even hitting me up saying Derek Carr is a better quarterback than Jimmy G. These are Niner fans. They had Jimmy G. And they're saying Derek Carr was a better quarterback than Jimmy G. Trust me when I say if Derek Carr was on that Niners team, they would probably make the playoffs given the division they're in, given the conference they're in. But trust me when I say if they make the playoffs, they will be exactly like where the Raiders were when they played the Bengals, losing wild card game after wild card game after wild card game, or losing divisional round after divisional round after divisional round. Jimmy G made throws when he needed to. Did he throw interceptions? He did. Did he fumble the ball? He did. Did he not stay healthy? He did. But if you told Jimmy Garoppolo, hey, 2-minute warning, I need you to go down the field and get us a touchdown and take this shit to overtime. Trust me when I say Jimmy G's like, throw. And then you tie Devontae Adams is in that mix. Jacoby Myers is in that mix. Josh Jacobs is in that mix. Michael Mayer is in that mix. Raider Nation, how delusional is our fan base? Why are we wishing for our quarterback to not succeed because of our former quarterback because we released him? People's like, oh, Raider Ed, you are a Raiders Primos. They're a bunch of car haters. Raider Nate and Raider Ed are a bunch of car haters. No, if anyone followed us from day one when we started this channel, we predicted Derek Carr would have an MVP caliber season last year. He would break all the Raiders single season records because he had Devontae Adams. He had Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs. Yes, given the Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller were injured, but you still had the best wide receiver in the league. You still had the best running back in the league. You had a number 11 ranked offensive line. You had Mac Hollins, who was not a scrub. He was a decent wide receiver too to pair with Devontae. Explain to me how you only throw 23 touchdowns. You go back-to-back years and career highs in interceptions, and you're like, you lead the Raiders to a 6-11 season. For Raider Nation, I'm not saying you got to agree, with the signing of Jimmy G. But if you call yourself a Raider fan, you get back behind your players, because that was the saying, right? With Derek Carr. Oh, bro, just get behind your player. Just support the guy just support your quarterback. I supported Derek Carr for too long, and I'm glad he's not. Am I thankful for what he did with the Raiders? Yeah. Am I glad he's not a Raider? Yeah. I'm glad he's not a Raider, because when your quarterback succeeds, your team succeeds. And Derek Carr did not succeed. And you know what? I'll say the same thing about Jimmy. Anyone who knows me, I'm keeping the same energy with Jimmy. He goes out there and shits the bed. Bro, after the game, I'm coming on here, and Jimmy, you gonna get heated, man. You getting all the smoke. And Josh McDaniels, you getting the smoke too, because I'm supporting you. I defended you last season because it was your first season. But this season, you got your guys. You drafted your guys. You got your guys in free agency. You got your quarterback. You got your wide receivers. You got JJ back. You got defensive pieces. There is no reason to go out there and have another 6-11 season and have another season full of misery, blown leads. You show us that again, out of here. I want you gone. Get us someone else who can do it. There's no excuses for Josh McDaniels and Jimmy G in 2023 to not have a competing Raiders team, a Raiders team who's not only competing, but they're winning football games. Sean Johnson, Jimmy G is walking into the strongest offense and in a system he once played in. I believe our O-line will keep him healthy. I think Jimmy G got a chip, and he's going to show the doubters. And that's what I'm saying, man. Orlando said Mahomes already had a team before he was a starter. Kelsey Hill. But the thing is, Orlando, Mahomes squashed that narrative already too. Hill isn't there. Kareem Hunt isn't there. He only has Kelsey and what? Backup wide receivers that he's still making them look good. Like he has a rookie running back that is, going off. Mahomes killed that narrative because that was the narrative too. Oh, Mahomes came into a great situation. Killed that narrative. He won a Super Bowl with Kelsey being his main target and wide receivers being likes of Juju Smith-Schuster and Marquez Valdes-Scantling. You know who had those wide receivers? Big Ben couldn't get it done. Aaron Rodgers couldn't get it done. They go to Kansas City. Mahomes all of a sudden, they get a ring with him. Mahomes killed that narrative. He killed it. And that is what I wanted Derek Carr to do, Orlando. I wanted Derek Carr to prove the narratives wrong. I wanted him to prove me wrong of calling him an average quarterback. I wanted him to prove me wrong, but he failed every single time. He proved his haters right. He proved the media right he proved Stephen A. Smith and what was it, Max Keller, or the guy that used to be Stephen A.'s partner. They said he quit on the Raiders. He didn't quit on the Raiders, but then when they called him an average quarterback, he proved them right. And you know what? I want Jimmy G to prove the haters right. Don't make guys like me look like a dumbass mid-season, Jimmy G. And I'll eat my words, guys. I will eat my words. I'm like, damn, I was wrong about Jimmy G. Now let me shit on this damn quarterback. And I know a lot of people will come for me like, oh, you're changing it up now. Yeah, I could change it up if I want to. Hey, I said Derek Carr was going to win the MVP last season. I changed that up real quick. It's my show. I can do what I want. Sean Johnson, that's like people wanting Josh McDaniels to fail. Why, if McDaniels is winning, then Raiders are winning? I love the Bustin' with the Boys interview. People should watch that. Yes, you guys, Sean sent that to me. I don't know if you guys know. Josh McDaniels had an interview with Bustin' with the Boys. It's on YouTube. I think it's a 8-minute interview. Guys, go check that out. Josh McDaniels basically talks about what he learned from his time in Denver. He opened up a lot to how he changed as a head coach. So if you guys have not watched Bustin' with the Boys, the interview with Josh McDaniels, I highly recommend you guys go take a look at that. What else you guys want to talk about, you guys? What else y'all want to talk about? I think we could be on here for a few more minutes. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Ask any questions, any comments. You guys, if you guys are not subscribed to Raiders Primos, please think about hitting the subscribe button. 377 we are at right now. We are getting close to 400, you guys. Spread the love around. Share with your friends, your family. Share with anyone you know who loves talking football, who loves talking Raiders football. Share with anyone. Share with everyone, anyone. Let's get to 400, Nation. I know we can do it. Orlando says Jimmy will have a good season. And I hope he does, Orlando. I hope he does. Also, I know I said we need to come back to a comment, and it was by my primo, Nate. Let me go back to that. He said this. Who you think finna be the most improved player for the Raiders in 2023? And I'm going to say Chandler Jones, Nate. Chandler Jones, people don't like him because of the contract, the way the contract is built. And I didn't like it either. But the thing is, towards the end of the season, we can see Chandler Jones starting to he started to resurrect that Chandler Jones of old. He had 2 sacks against the Chargers. He was getting a lot of pressure against the Steelers, and then he got hurt. Unfortunately, that injury ended his season, and I think he's gonna come back. He knows what happened last season. I know he hears all the noise, so I really believe that Chandler Jones, he's gonna come out rejuvenated. He's gonna they signed Tyree Wilson, his replacement. I think he's going to come out, and I see him having 2 sacks against the Broncos come week 1. Orlando says, what do you think about the rest of the AFC teams? Now, Orlando, it's scary, bro. It's scary, man. Let's take a look at the AFC teams real quick. You got the you got the Chiefs, who I feel like they're gonna win the AFC, just because of Mahomes, right? Just because of Mahomes. There's a video on YouTube by Good Morning Football, and Kyle Brandt. It was talking about how do the Raiders exceed expectations in the 2023 season. Kyle Brandt went on to say, he put up a graphic, and it basically showed Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes is 9-1 against the Raiders. Mahomes, for the most part, has dominated the entire AFC. Kansas City is the leader in the AFC going into the 2023 season. Then you got the Buffalo Bills. Then you got the Cincinnati Bengals. So those are my top 3 teams in the AFC. And then you got the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins. They're not far, they're not far from each other, especially with the Buffalo Bills. They will compete in the AFC East. New England Patriots, they might make some noise. I think they are the worst team in that division, but it's not saying that they're going to be bad. It's just, man, Aaron Rodgers with the Jets, Miami, what they did last season, but we'll have to see how Tua, how he does given all the injuries. But they got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They did lose Mike Gesicki to the Patriots, which was a really key target for the Dolphins in the red zone. So that could be a plus for Mac Jones with the Patriots. Then you look like I said, you look at the New York Jets, that defense, pairing it with that type of offense. I think the Jets are going to make more noise in the AFC East as regards to competing with the AFC East crown with the Bills than the Dolphins and the Patriots. Then you go to the AFC North. You got the Steelers, Browns, Ravens, Bengals. Bengals, I think they're going to win that division, hands down. Steelers, Kenny Pickett has been having a really good preseason. He had a really good preseason. So it's going to be interesting. Hey, I drafted him in fantasy. So it's going to be really interesting to see what he does in the regular season. You got Najee Harris, George Pickens, a young buck, man, going into his second year. Him and Kenny Pickett showed to really have a really good connection in the preseason. You pair him up with Deontay Johnson, that it can be an explosive offense. Their secondary, you got Mika Fitzpatrick. They drafted Joey Porter out of Penn State. They're building that defense back up. But I just think Cincinnati, I mean, you got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and then you got Burrow throwing the football, Joe Mixon, representing California. I think Cincinnati has it. As for Cleveland's going to be the basement of the AFC North. And then Baltimore, if Lamar Jackson can stay healthy, expect to see Baltimore possibly making a playoff run. The AFC South that I predict is the worst division in the AFC. Jacksonville, I think with Trevor Lawrence and then the pieces they made this offseason, they're going to they could possibly make another playoff run. Houston, they're in rebuild, but they got a lot of good. They're going to be competing this season. They're not going to be getting blown out like they did last season. You got C.J. Stroud and you got Will Anderson. I feel like that could be the Derek Carr, Khalil Mack type thing that the Raiders had. Texans, they got a defensive gem and a offensive gem that they could build off of. And then the Indianapolis Colts got Anthony Richardson, but for the most part, seeing what the situation with them and Jonathan Taylor, I think they're going to be at the basement. I think Tennessee is going to be finishing second just because, they got Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill. They also got DeAndre Hopkins getting the addition that they have there. So, yeah, I could see Jacksonville, Tennessee making a playoff push. And then we get to the AFC West. Like I said, guys, the Chiefs are going to be number one until someone dethrones them. And then I feel what the Raiders did in the offseason, they're going to be second. And then the Chargers and the Raiders are going to be fighting for that second position. They always make it tough against each other in the regular season. And I believe the Denver Broncos, they're going to be in the basement. And it's not their fault. Injuries kill them already. Tim Patrick gone for the season. Jerry Jeudy's going to miss significant time. And then they lost another one. Who was it? They lost another wide receiver, and it was their slot guy. I don't remember his name. They only have Courtland Sutton. And then you got Jamal Williams coming off the ACL injury. I do think he's going to have a bounce-back year, but he may not have the production as he did when before he tore his ACL. But Denver's defense is always going to be great, so that is another thing you got to watch out for. But for the most part, the Raiders, the road to the playoffs is not going to be easy. You got four possible playoff teams in the AFC East. The entire division can make a playoff push. In the AFC North, you got at least three. Same with the AFC South, and then you got the AFC West, which all four teams could possibly make a playoff push too. So it is going to be a very, very long road, a hard road, for the Raiders to make a playoff push. But could they do it? They can. The path is theirs, you guys. That's the thing. We need to stop relying on other teams to win games so we can make the playoffs. The path is the path. If the Raiders want to make the playoffs, they control their own destiny. So the Raiders got to go out there and control their own business and not worry about anybody else's business but theirs. Salute to everybody in the chat. Subscribe if you guys have not subscribed to Raiders Primos yet. Hit that like. Also, hit the bell so you guys are not late to any future lives or any videos that are uploaded. Also, share with your family, share with your friends, share it around, guys. We are closing in at 400 subscribers. So share it, share it, share it. Good question, Orlando. That was an amazing question. Sean says we all should be Detroit Lions fans next Thursday night. Smack those squeeze. Oh, best believe, bro. I'm a Lions. I mean, I'm not a fan, but I'm definitely rooting for them. I'll say that. Not a fan. I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for them. Natural said Orlando. Long story short, the AFC will be Long story short, AFC will be a slaughterhouse. They will. Sean says, "Damn, I was gonna say Chandler Jones, but this year he's physically better than than ever. He lost weight, and this year much healthier, deeper interior defense will help Chandler, and you have Tyree Wilson." Yep. I was reading an article that this Las Vegas Raiders team is similar to the 2007 New York Giants that went 9-7 and went on to beat an 18-0 undefeated Tom Brady and Patriots 17-14 in the Super Bowl. And I don't want to compare them to, greatness, but we'll have to see, Sean. That gets me hyped, but we got to play the games at the end of the day. Take out Mahomes. Hey, like Al Davis said, the quarterback must go down and must go down hard. Well, anyways, you guys, we're over an hour and a half. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of fun. Thanks to the 11 people in the chat. Thanks to Orlando and Sean and Nate, my primo Nate, for still being active in the show. Shout out to also Robert. Let me see. Anthony Estrada. Also, shout out to Robert Munoz Jr., Carlos, Beerus, also for pulling up in the chat. Thank you guys for being active. Guys, on the way out, again, if you guys have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Hit the like on the way out. Hit the bell so you guys are not late to future lives. And also, share. Let's get to 400 subs. We'll see you guys in the next video. Let's get ready for week 1. Regular season's here, you guys. Have a great night. God bless. And we'll see you guys in the next show. Peace.